Welcome back. You're watching Storyboard. There has been a lot of change and uncertainty over the past 2 years of the pandemic. It has also made organizations recalibrate their approach towards real estate. Entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, large companies are reworking their real estate strategies. Targeting this wide spectrum of consumers, WeWork has launched their latest campaign titled Great Inspires Great, that highlights an ideal workplace. To tell us more about this and their overall post-pandemic strategy, we have Karan Virwani, CEO WeWork India, and Megha Agarwal, Head of Brand and Marketing at WeWork India. Karan, Megha, welcome to CNBC-TV18.
Thank you. Shivani, thank you.
Karan, we are meeting on the sidelines of your new campaign launch, which is Great Inspires Great.
Yeah.
What excites you the most about this campaign?
I think it hits on multiple levels for us. One, WeWork as a platform has always been a place for companies or people to actually, come in, be part of the community and actually leverage that to grow their business, to, grow their network and use our platform, our infrastructure to, to their advantage as much as possible. So I think it's that, but also it encapsulates the entire spectrum of people that come into our space, whether it's a large Fortune 500 company or a small business. I think everyone coming here is trying to build something amazing, and we wanted to really capture that energy, that essence. And it's the first time we're doing this after 5 years of kind of being in India and operating in India. And I think that the campaign reflects diversity. It reflects a much younger energy of India that comes into the workforce and we see in our building. So excited to showcase that to the country.
Yeah, and as you said, Megha, it showcases inclusivity, diversity. There is also a dog walking in the campaign. It also showcases your products. Can you share, what is the objective behind it? What do you want to achieve for your business? What is the business objective of it?
So post-pandemic, we've seen a real shakedown of the larger flexible industry space, and there's been an immense amount of growth. And this is a very good point in time to ensure that there is a lot of brand love. And when companies think about who should be their flex partner in this space, they think WeWork. And what we've showcased in the film is what WeWork truly is. At the heart of the brand sticks inclusivity and diversity. These are our core values. And you will see all of these things actually live at a WeWork location. We've tried to keep it as real, and therefore you will see real people. You also have some employees actually as part of the film. So that's actually what WeWork is. It's a vibe. And through this brand, I think we want to power into next year really. We've seen our first quarter of profitability, and I think this is a great point where we scale up massively, and the film comes in at a brilliant time as we step into the next year. So that's largely the objective behind the campaign at this time.
Correct. Karan, what are the post-pandemic trends that are emerging, if you can share those, and how are these trends shaping your business?
Yeah. So when we started, we were pushing the need for flexibility in the sense that companies should, kind of look at their fixed costs, figure out how to make it a lot more variable. Companies are always scaling and shrinking depending on business cycles, depending on, stages of their growth as well. And real estate has always been like this fixed cost within most organizations or within your P&L. I think what, we do and what a lot of our flex peers and operators actually do is help businesses make that a much more variable cost. So coming out of COVID, I think there was a big realization that, from all companies that, listen, why do I need to be carrying all of this cost when, something so unpredictable can happen and I'm stuck, with this thing on my balance sheet, on my P&L, which is draining the business. So that mindset completely, has shifted, where companies who never considered flex working as an option or as a strategy for their growth are definitely now considering it. The other big thing that's come out is like the ability to be flexible, not just in terms of contract or time, but in terms of location and geography. So employees live in different parts of the city. Earlier they all used to commute to one large office in some part of town which may be far away. Today, with our locations spread across most cities, the ability to tap into to the infrastructure closer to your home is really what's kind of driving people, into our spaces, whether that's someone looking for just for a day to come into the space, or companies saying I much rather give my employees smaller offices across the city so that they can come into the space, they can focus on their work. It's a place they get out of the house where they're away from the family or like all of the noise, clutter of being in, a shared and like home environment which has multiple distractions to kind of come in. So it's been flexibility in terms of like contract and like how you're able to manage real estate, flexibility in terms of sort of like location. And we've seen that companies are becoming a lot more mobile in the sense that operations might spring up in Bangalore for a period of time, a period of months, and then kind of shut down either because of a project or whatever it is, but want to expand and say like a Bombay again under one account and under one product. So we're able to do that for a company at no additional kind of cost and pretty much within a month's notice. So I think it's just that entire value proposition when you're building a business of how you can kind of manage this a lot better, and the convenience of not having to focus on that. If I'm an entrepreneur building tech or building a services business, I don't want to focus on that. So you have a partner like us that can help you with all of those things.
When the pandemic began, people and world over experts had written off co-working spaces, saying that the era of co-working spaces is over, and now we have come to this flexible working, and it's in a way boosting your business. So how did you adapt yourself, or how did you make changes within the company to make this flexibility happen for so many businesses out there?
Well, the good thing was flexibility was always in our DNA. That was, we had seen people adopting it before COVID. It's just that after COVID, it's hit with this massive acceleration, ended up becoming a huge tailwind, versus like being a thing that could actually kill the business. And a lot of times before COVID, people used to ask me, what's the biggest risk of your business? What's the biggest risk of your business? And I don't think I could have ever thought pandemic, but today when I think about it, I think that is like one of the biggest things that could have happened to us, where people just were not in our spaces and we were not used to that. But how we managed it, was with focusing on three big stakeholders. First was our members. So our members are a mix of like a lot of small businesses and enterprises, and it was the small businesses that got hit the most during COVID. So we were actually proactive in giving them relief. We were partners with them, where we kind of eased their tension of having to keep to a lot of their commitments, and we were able to kind of give them relief like off the bat. That was hugely appreciated. So when COVID ended or the lockdowns lifted, those members actually are the ones who came back. They were strong enough to continue to start growing. So that was one. The second thing was we focused on our employees a lot. We made sure that when the whole world was doing pay cuts and doing all of that stuff, we never kind of approached that subject. We made sure that we had enough liquidity to make sure that our employees had stability and weren't sort of like unsure about what's going to happen with their thing. And one of our biggest partners are our landlords. So our landlords was the third piece of the thing that we focused a lot on. Very grateful to all of them, because they were like very proactive in giving us reliefs, working with us, and managing through that entire piece, and that strengthened the entire business and made sure that we were in a good place. And then it was just a factor of like the world being able to come back to life with vaccines and like everything else that happened, which then just sort of like catapulted. And I think that's what we're seeing or have seen in this year, is this huge ramp up, this huge adoption. and this huge like shift in people coming back to.
So
to work.
it was a roller coaster of the
yeah, it
last
was-
2 years
100%.
for you
It
guys.
was it was a journey. That's just
Yeah, and Megha, what is your strategy to drive further growth for WeWork in the coming months?
The idea is that while we strengthen the brand WeWork amongst everybody and build top of mind, we want people to know that we are one of the most unique hybrid players in the market, right? So we have products from one spectrum, which is on demand, which is catering to your single consumers, offering them day passes to access our buildings for the day. And then we have on the other spectrum, we have managed offices, wherein we basically build, source, operate, manage an entire solution for you no matter where you want it. So I think it's a very wide spectrum. And it's important that over a period of time, strategically, we inform and educate consumers and members about the proposition that we have to offer. And as people and enterprises start figuring out that, flexibility is not just a benefit on the table, but like Karan said, it's more an important thing to have in your DNA to survive as you go forward and scale up. We will continue being top of mind for them as we scale up. So I think that's largely what we're looking at. And constantly the effort will be that. Hence the campaign is planned in a 360 fashion. We will, traditionally we've been a digital first brand, but I think in this case, I think it was important that we touch multiple platforms of media, and the campaign goes live across TV, OTT, outdoor, radio, and digital. So it's a multi-approach channel this way, and I think it will help get us the scale that we really want to and fuel us into the next year. So that's largely the strategy.
Great, great. Karan, you mentioned that a lot of your focus during the pandemic was also on your members, on these entrepreneurs, smaller enterprises. Today, if I were to ask you how much of your business is driven by these smaller companies, entrepreneurs, and how much of it is driven by larger organizations?
Yeah, we're about actually 65%, large enterprises. And we classify an enterprise as anyone, any company that has more than sort of like 500 to 1,000 employees globally. These are really large, stable companies that have, either are growing in India, already established in India, or entering India, for the first time. So a large chunk is that. But I would say like the soul of WeWork still resides with the entrepreneurs and the freelancers and the SME segment, which is really the energy that you kind of feel within our spaces, and it's actually what attracts the enterprise to our spaces, because it's ironic where a small business is always trying to be an enterprise, but an enterprise always wants to act like a small business and be as nimble, and like in our space they're able to do that.
All right, Karan, thank you so much. Thanks, Megha. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Shivani.
Thank you for having us.
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all of our content on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time next week. See you soon.